Pennies Going in Raw is a production of iHeartRadio. The opinions expressed in the following podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide education and entertainment about the financial industry and the stock market. Enjoy!
On this episode of Pennies Going in Raw, we discuss job reports, cutting winners early, and also Tesla's big drop.
You find out life's this game of pennies.
Oh, you guys know we only have a 40% runner. Hello, 40% is a fucking killing.
We've been compliant for too long. It's time we go to war.
I don't have a Roth.
Hugh knows so much about the market that his brain doesn't have enough room for grammar.
Hey, who told me about IDEX? It's going up a shit ton now.
We're up 4%, baby. No way. 4 fucking percent.
You asked the exact same question with 2 words different.
It's like, man, I just got dick whipped for like 20%, and now that f***er's up like 50.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
I'm just making this voice memo to call out unusual whales to a fight. The pennies we need are everywhere around us. Pennies.
Going in Raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity of Dips, and Hugh Honey.
Produced by Vinny.
And Christian.
Let's go, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of Pennies Going in Raw. Today is Sunday, October the 9th. And man, I'm assuming the job reports you're going to tell us about did not go well. I mean, we're right back to where the bottom was, basically. We thought we were on the up and up, but it seems like that was not the case. And like you said, good news can be bad news for the market. Is there anything you kind of want to dive in on really what the reason was for this huge drop?
Well, yeah. So this is the difficult thing with the market, right? Because from an economic standpoint, you look at the jobs report and you're thinking to yourself, hey, that really wasn't that bad. So you look at the U.S. unemployment rate, and the unemployment rate was 3.5%, and the forecast was 3.7%. Well, you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is great news. You're like, less people, more people are working than we expected. That's great. And then you look at how the payroll increases, and it was 263,000. And the estimate was 255,000. You're like, hey, things are going great inside the economy. More people are working. What is wrong about this? And then the market goes down 2.7%. And this is why I say, and we say a lot on this show, that good news can be bad news and bad news can be good news. Because any person that read those numbers would look at you blank in the face if you told them that the market should go down on that news because the economy is good. Well, why this is not necessarily good news for the markets is because these numbers are too good. And what I mean by that is that this now gives the Fed an opportunity to continue to raise rates because it's showing a healthy job market and a healthy labor community. Now, if these numbers were bad, then the Fed wouldn't be able to raise, or not that they wouldn't be able to raise rates, but they wouldn't be allowed to be as aggressive. Because as we know, they want and have been extremely aggressive. So now that, we showed better than expected numbers for job reports, now the Fed can raise a whole nother base point if they want. And that's the thing that we always talk about is that, with the market, it can be good news, but, ultimately it's bad news. And this is why, you can't trade off of headlines like that. Because if you were to read that, and again, if we weren't trying to raise rates, or, if we were not inside the era of the Fed raising rates and the Fed tightening, this would be fantastic news. But the current situation that we're in and that we are put in is making it so that we literally need to raise rates. And so with a strong labor market, that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to continue to do it as long as the labor markets stay high. And, more that we raise rates, the market will probably continue to go down.
So obviously, we're still in this point where they're not exactly trying to prevent the market just crashing. They're just kind of trying to manage the downfall. How do you think this past jobs report did kind of doing that? And then also, why do you think when we're going into why it dropped, do you kind of think just the expectation of the Feds raising rates again is a big part of it?
Oh, certainly. I mean, right after that news came out, more news came out that said U.S. interest rate futures price in 92% chance of a 75 basis points Fed hike in November, up from 85% from the September jobs report. That's basically like, 75 is sealed and done. You know what I mean? That's a donezo. Which is, kind of wild. And so if that means that, 75 basis points is not locked in, but pretty close to there. In addition to that, what's that mean for a whole basis points? I mean, and for anybody that really, and including myself, because I haven't really lived through anything like this, typically when we raise rates, we're trying to do it at 25 basis points. So it's basically like, if I'm your parents, every time that you do a chore, I'm trying to give you 25 cents. And all of a sudden, you now have to give me 75 cents. So that raising rates is bad. Raising them as aggressively as we are is, I don't want to say unprecedented because it's not, but it's definitely not common. And it's definitely not something that we want to do, because this is what happens. You cause drastic pendulum swings inside the market. And things that take 6 to 8 months to catch up, by the time that we're inside a better place, the pendulum's still going to be swinging the other way. And so then we got to be aggressive and swing it back the other way. And I'll just give an example since we're kind of, going into this a little bit. We're going to get to a point to where, we don't need to raise rates anymore. And it could even be that we don't need to raise rates, or we could even say that we'll get to a point to where the market can't allow any more rates raised. And what I mean by not just the market, but I also mean like the labor market. So if unemployment starts to rise, and unemployment sees, a high uptick, then we're not going to be able to raise rates. And when when we're not able to raise rates, that's when the Fed has to shift the other way and, cut rates. But here's the problem with all that, is that everything lags. So because we're raising interest rates now, we really won't see the true effects of this for a few months, let's call it 6 to 8 months. So that's the issue, is that we're going to get to a point to where either we don't need to raise rates, or we don't need to raise rates, or we have to cut rates. And what's going to happen? The pendulum's still going to be swinging, and there's nothing that we're going to be able to do about it because the effects won't show yet. So that's the scary thing about this. And that's why, I think that next year we'll still have to raise rates, but I really hope that we come down to the 25 basis points. That's what I want. Because now also today came out that the average interest rate for a home right now is now up to 7.15%. It's like 4x last year.
Yeah, people that locked it in at 2% looking real good right now.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to continue to raise rates. So, I mean, hell, we are continuing to raise rates. We've said that. I mean, it's an 80. It was, what did we just say? 93% chance of a 75 basis points. Interest rates will be at 9%. Now we got to do this for 3 more quarters, and we'll be at 15% more interest rates on our mortgages. That's nuts. When the last time we saw that? Dan and I
2008
weren't even alive.
No.
No. No, like the 80s.
Yeah, no, definitely wasn't around for that one.
Like we weren't even thoughts. But you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Like we haven't seen this for so long. But there's like a real chance that we go into double digits, which is just wild. Especially because not only were we going into double digits, but we had never like nobody like being when we were at like 1.5%, 2% interest rates. Everybody was sitting there like, oh yeah, like we'll have to raise rates, but and ourselves included, like we didn't know what would happen.
Dude,
And,
our kids are gonna be like, man, our parents were around before it was 100%. Like prices weren't just doubled.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, and we've said it since the beginning of this podcast. But it's just crazy everything that's happening at the speed that's happening. Like we're going through economic cycles so fast. I mean, if I were to tell, I don't even know. If I were to tell, like, I wish that like some of the older guys who have been around this game for like 50, 60 years, I wish that they would comment a little bit on some of this stuff, because like Carl Icahn, let's go.
Dude, if you've been around trading for 50, 60 years, I imagine you're damn near senile at this point.
Well, that's what I mean. And so all the older guys, who run public funds and stuff, they're not going to come out and say anything because they can't make it look like they didn't know that this was going to happen. Because then that doesn't, then there's like no investor trust. You just go into a whole bunch of nonsense. But I'd love to hear their actual like real opinions on this, because they have to be going, as Dan said, senile. Like they have to be going nuts. Thinking about all of this, because it's so.
No, senile just means they're dumb because they're older.
All right, not senile, crazy.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Just because if they've been trading for 60 years, they're probably 80. They're probably old as fuck. It's more. And also, I want to take back saying dumb as fuck. It's more of like dementia and shit. So maybe, word. So. Two more things about why the market's dropping. One's a little more of a joke, but if there was less shit going on, obviously it'd be a bigger deal. On Thursday, Biden said that we are as close to Armageddon, nuclear Armageddon, as we were since the 1960s Cuban Missile Crisis. So,
whoa,
yeah,
okay,
big claim. And I found out that because he said Vladimir Putin's latest threats of using nuclear weapons in the raging Russian-Ukraine war. Biden said Putin was not joking when he talks about the use of tactical nuclear weapons or biological or chemical weapons. We have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Jesus. Okay.
I mean, dude,
I hate that.
So I like it. I like what he's doing, because hear me out. No one else really remembers, the 1960 Cuban. I mean, that was 60 years ago. He's probably one of the only people alive that was an adult then that watches TV and shit. So anyone else that remembers, like, who are we to say that this isn't exactly the same as the 1960 Cuban Missile Crisis?
Okay.
Anyone, if you weren't alive during the 1960 Cuban Missile Crisis as a full-grown adult, you can't say that Biden wasn't dead on the money.
Okay, hang on a second. You're right. I wasn't alive for that. However,
he's a realist, man.
No. Listen. Putin sucks. Okay, and he's a terrible person. And
do you know how old he is?
I would probably guess 55.
And he looks fantastic for his age. That motherfucker just turned 70.
Wow. Good for Putin. It's all the working out he does.
He looks tremendous for his age.
Well, he did release that workout video saying that the West is weak, and
he had the video of him riding a fucking bear, dude.
Bareback horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The only thing that I'll say about that, because I think that's a little bit nonsense, is that the Cuban Missile Crisis was what? 50 miles off of Florida with missiles pointed at the United States versus, again, Putin sucks and he talks a lot of crap. However, I don't know. Maybe Biden knows something that I don't. Obviously, he knows
Dude,
tons of shit
they
that I
may
don't.
they may have
But-
the missiles in Florida this time.
True. And you know what? You're totally right. But based on the information given, I would say that missiles pointed at us 50 miles off the coast is a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more
Urgent,
urgent than Putin saying that the West sucks. And he also claims that like, and again, all these headlines, they also happen all the time. But Putin was ready to talk last week. He's saying no nuclear warfare, all this stuff. Again, all that's half of it's nonsense and it changes every week. But again, I just think it's one of those things where like, read the room, brother. Read the room. Like not a lot of people, or not obviously the younger people, Dan and myself include, weren't around for the Cuban Missile Crisis, but it was like any day. It was like you really didn't know if like you would just hear on the news that you have to like get underneath your desk.
Dude, fucking Putin was only 10 years old during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He doesn't even He's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, he's like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, dude, I've never heard of Missile Crisis. He's like, Cuba, dude, fuck Cuba. I'll show you a country. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty. Yeah. So all right. Based on what I understand, what I know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's a little bit of a stretch there, old Biden. And that I'm a fan of Mr. Biden as a person. I would love him as a grandpa. But there's just a few things that he says that's like, I don't know. And then the last thing, wait, while we're on Biden.
Okay.
Did you see the headline about what Saudi Arabia did with oil? They lowered prices for Europe and they increased prices for the United States. So I guess that July meeting didn't really sway MBS too much.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't imagine. I can't. Damn it, dude. Fuck. I'm happy I don't drive much.
Well, then Biden said that he believes that oil will be over $100 again.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Well, it's actually a nice transition into our next topic, kind of, because I kept accidentally fucking liking. They changed the feature on Twitter. Usually, if you double tap like the left side or the right side of a video on Twitter, it would skip 5 seconds. So, like, if I wanted to watch something, I could just back it up. But on some videos now, if you do it, it just fucking likes it. So I like some nonsense Joe Biden was saying the other day. And I want everyone to know that it was an accident.
I want.
So it kind of is a good transition into this. One of the big anchors on SPY this week, not just the market, but Tesla was down 16%, the lowest since March 2020 in a 5-day period. That's a lot. And there's a couple reasons.
Sunday's podcast.
Yeah, there's a reason. Couple of them actually. Elon back in Twitter, and also another worry is disappointing quarterly deliveries. And and then, like I said, CEO Elon Musk getting back into Twitter, and the Twitter deal comes with the possibility that Musk will be forced to sell Tesla shares to finance the deal. I think it's still trying to do it at $44 a share. Lucky for him, it's only $5 off that right now. But yeah, no. So it dropped. So obviously there's some more cheap shares. So there's a bunch of investors really hopping in. But on the flip side, there's some more cautious investors, that were worried about the recession, growing threat of competition, a wary consumer squeezed by high inflation, and the biggest thing I think, and I'm sure you think as well, is the stock's expensive valuation. And to put that into perspective, Tesla shares are trading at 51 times the company's estimated forward earnings. And by comparison, the S&P 500 trades at an average of 16 times, and Apple trades at 23. So about 3 and 2 times respectively. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you think it is like kind of being an anchor on SPY? I mean, down 16% is a fucking shitload.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it is. But listen, this is why, like, this is why I get the same question a lot about like Hugh, like I know that like you love Roth IRAs, like, you know, I would assume that you would be investing in the future, which is clean energy and, you know, electric vehicles and stuff like that. Listen, that could in fact be the future. All right. And I'm going to go back to the dot-com bubble. And not because I believe that that Tesla, you know, was similar to the dot-com bubble. However, at that time, people were making the same argument about the internet. They were saying, don't you think internet will be, you know, the biggest, you know, thing?
And pets.com still didn't fucking make them billionaires.
and the truth is that yes, and obviously the internet is huge. However,
but there's a lot of internet on the internet. Yeah, we weren't just investing in the fucking internet. Like, yeah, if you could just invest in EVs.
It's the same thing like in the 1940s and 50s. How many different car manufacturers were around? Tons. And they were saying the same thing. They were saying, hey, you know, cars are going to be the future. Everybody's going to own a car. And in fact, that most people own now 2 cars. However, how many of those cars how many of those car manufacturers are still standing?
That was the 40s. Seems a bit early for the car craze because I know
40s and 50s.
I know that's when we started getting.
Hang on. I'll look it up. Okay, no, you're correct. But I'm saying like I'm thinking about like when it became like mainstream and like people were like truly trying to invest in like the future of cars.
Okay, fair.
You know, like when it wasn't like, oh shit, like how the hell do you do that? Yeah. And so I just found something from 2018 that said by the 1950s, 3 corporations were making 96% of American cars, but there were hundreds of companies that were selling automobiles. So basically, the point that I'm trying to make here is that, yes, you can see the innovation years in advance, like with cars, like with the internet, like with electric vehicles, like with green energy. However, just because a company does that does not mean that they'll be around forever. And that's the point that I'm trying to make here. Okay. And so do I want to buy Tesla when Tesla is at a PE ratio of like 80 quadrillion billion? No. Okay. If Tesla does come down to earth, which, you know, I honestly don't think that it will anytime soon. But if it came down to earth and it was trading at, you know, 20 PE, yeah, I'd be interested. Hell yeah. There's Tesla cars all over the place.
There is a fuck ton of Tesla cars. I didn't know many there were until I got out of Alabama. But there's a fuck ton.
Even on the East Coast, there really wasn't that many until like a year or two ago. So my point is that do I want to buy Tesla up here? No. And even like with every other, you know, green energy company and every other, you know, electric vehicle company, that doesn't mean that they'll be around. Ford is one of the longest standing car manufacturers, and I have no faith that they will be around for the next 100 years. No faith. None. So until, you know, the technology is proven, and until you start to see the government changing some of the rules, I just let it play out, you know, and this comes back to anything. Even Apple. I'm not buying Apple at a 23 PE ratio because it can go to an 18 PE ratio. At that point, I'll be interested because that's
only
where it trades
2 car companies have never gone bankrupt, dude. Ford and Tesla. Saw that on the Joe Rogan podcast, but Elon Musk said it, so I definitely trust it.
Tesla came pretty close.
Yeah, dude. Well, Big E saved it.
Tesla came so close, like 15 times, honestly.
It should be all right now.
Yeah, now, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, they should be pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much the point that I'm trying to make. Is that
so? Remember how we were going into the price of Tesla, or the price of Tesla, and how it would affect him buying Twitter. I feel like it's getting to the point where, I mean, if Elon sells to buy Twitter, he's got to sell a shit ton because the price is so low, and that'll drive it down even more. I mean, we could be seeing another 20% drop.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, yeah, because it just comes down to simple supply and demand.
I mean, the lower this shit goes, the more he's gonna have to sell to buy Twitter.
Yeah, and like, what you think institutions are gonna stick around? Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because you got Kathy Woods buying.
She's buying more, yeah.
So, which was, she is incredible at this point. I really tried to stick up for her last year. And
yeah,
I mean,
you
she
had
is
like a
just-
whole pro women's rights podcast about her.
And then she just really ruined it for me. Like, she truly, like, I just don't understand the thinking behind it. It was like, keep buying higher. And then when it dips, buy the dip. And then when it dips, keep buying the dip.
She's
Like-
the real dip deity.
Yeah, seriously. Like, she averaged up so much on some of the names that she had. Like, she was up like 500%. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to average in. Like, this is the future. What?
All right. Well, moving on from the market and things taking it down. An interesting thing about it, since March, when stocks are at their tippy top, investors have actually only withdrawn 0.4% of their money. I feel like that's kind of an impressive number. I mean, that's not much at all. People clearly aren't scared of the dip, and they either lost it. What's funny to me is how many people got their asses handed to them. And you'd think there would be more, but apparently they just lost all their money in the market. They just gave it right back to the stocks, man. They didn't save any of it. But hey, so last topic we were going to go into is you wanted to talk about cutting winners a little too early. And I found another little study to kind of go into right before we go into this. Thought it was interesting as well. But a study shows that 40% of the time, the online traders, and this is around 200,000 traders, and they took their trades for around a year. It says study shows that 40% of the time, the online traders who had already placed stop loss orders took any action related to their position, whether they bought, sold, or whatever. 40% of the time, it was to lower those stop loss thresholds even further. So the closer it got to the number, they just moved it down. Basically saying, that's their FOMO. They want to stay in. They don't want to have their stop loss at the bottom. And they ended up just being in it way too long. So I guess that's kind of like on the other side of what you're about to talk to, which is cutting winners early, correct?
Yeah, so basically, part of what I wanted to talk to you about today is just like the psychology behind us as traders, because most things in life, I feel like when things are going well, we want to lean into that. And when things are going really shitty, we're trying to do everything inside our power to get away from that. So I'm saying, I don't even know. I can't even speculate, but I'm just saying, let's just say, you're just having a terrible week. You're just trying to end that week and move on, or your dog, your girl cheats on you. You're just trying to get away from her. You know what I'm saying? Where with the market as traders, for whatever reason, and again, I don't know why, but it feels like when things are going well, we're like, oh shit, great. Time to cut it here, and not lean into this, and time to take my gains, which I get that. And then on the flip side, we have the, when shit's going bad, it's like, oh, I'm going to lean into this and I'm going to try and average down, which of course never works, and then it works one time out of 10 and we're like, oh, it works. Even though 9 out of the other 10 times it didn't work. And that's the difficult part about trading, right? And again, I don't understand it because in every other aspect of life, that's not how it works. Am I wrong, or do you think I'm wrong?
No, I mean, I'm with you with the 1 out of 10 times. And you get excited when you have a plan that finally works. And the thing is with trading, I mean, it's not like you're perfecting a skateboarding trick and on the 10th time it works. It's because, you finally figured it out. It's because you got lucky on the 10th time. It's a different game than usual, where your psychology is going to be like, oh, I finally got it right. Now I just got to keep perfecting it. Now it'll start working 4 out of 10 times. Then it'll start working 6, but it's actually just going to continue working 1 out of 10 times. It's like having a baby, dude. If you have 4 boys, what's the chance that the 5th one's going to be a boy? 50% still.
Really?
Yeah.
It
If
doesn't
you've had-
lower if you have too many.
You've had 4 boys and your wife gets pregnant again. What is the chance it's going to be a boy or girl? 50-50.
Come on, you don't think that there's like
A certain amount of boy sperms and a certain amount of girl sperms, and you just been fucking shooting off the wrong ones the whole time?
I'm just saying that I feel like
the left nuts got the boys, the right nuts got the girls.
Yeah, come on. Do you really think that it's 50-50? I feel like your chance is lower again. Like
No,
I
that's
feel like
absurd, dude. Look at Kobe Bryant.
Really?
You don't think he'd have a kid in the NBA by now, at least in fucking middle school ball?
Come on, I'm just saying that like if you have like 4 boys, I don't think the chance is the same.
That's crazy.
that
if
crazy?
you're looking at it overall, like the chances of having 5 kids in a row that are all boys, obviously not 50%. But if you've had 4, the chances of the 5th one being a boy again is still 50%.
All right, check this. I'm on babymed.com. It says couples with 4 children. 12.5% of couples have 4 girls or 4 boys. 35 Oh.
Dude, there's no way you're right on this. It's like if you throw a dice 100 times and you never hit a 1, does that mean the chances of throwing that 100 first time is like you're definitely hitting some 1s?
I guess you're right.
I don't even know what the fuck we were talking. We were talking about fucking stop losses, man.
Yeah, but this I don't know why. I just was really passionate about the fact that like I feel like that's just
No, dude. If you have 6 girls and you're really wanting a boy, dude, I wouldn't bank on the 7th. I would just, if you're like cutting your days of having some baby batter in the balls, I would and you're cutting those days short, I would definitely ask permission to impregnate around 7 girls to increase your odds. And then definitely your chances are higher. But definitely go over that with your significant other first, because just impregnating 7 people at once is extremely rude to do without going over with her. Anyways, we were going over stop losses. You wanted to continue with or something? I don't even think it was stop losses. It was just cutting shit early.
The psychology behind like cutting shit early and stuff. And basically just it's kind of messed up that we think that way, that like we lean into losers, and anytime that we see green, we're ready to cut it almost instantly. And so my point to that is just that like when you're feeling it and you're seeing that A+ setup, go ahead and step on it. But more importantly, when you're having a tough trading week or a tough trading month, size down. Like there's so many stories of people who I've heard like, oh, Hugh, like I had a red day, so I decided to like triple my size just to get back to even. It's like, why? Why'd you do that? So stop averaging down. Stop doubling your size when you're red.
You talking to Kathy Woods right now?
Bro, Kathy, me and Kathy, we're at our relationships on the fences. We're really not we're really inside a bad spot, me and her. I really thought we had something special, honestly.
She's hot, right? I think so. Let's see, Kathy. Yeah, no, definitely. For 66, yeah. Her and Putin would make a good couple.
Penny's the
if we hooked up Putin and Kathy Woods, that'd be a top podcast moment.
We'd make the New York Times for the second time.
If we may make more than the fucking New York Times, and then make the fucking most wanted list. Just giving
Interpol.
Yeah. Huh. Well, no. Well, Kathy Woods there, Vladimir Putin. Hey, if Putin was to come on, what are 3 questions you would ask him? And keep in mind, the last person that even kind of pissed him off, I can't even remember if Jeff Bezos did anything to him. He leaked the fact that he was cheating on his wife. So keep that in mind.
Well, for starters, I have a doorman, so try getting into my apartment, Putin.
Yeah, I don't know if my concierge would. He's like, oh, yeah. But I think my first, I'd warm him up with the first one. I know you're not really good at asking questions off the fly for these guys. I thought the founder of Netflix was going to kick your ass. So
Are you kidding? No, fuck
whenever you were asking him if he was just doing all these projects for money after he just explained how he was doing it for his love of entrepreneurship, I was like,
yeah, but
damn,
like, okay, but listen, we've interviewed a lot of people, okay? And not to go on a little rant here, but we've interviewed a lot of people. Some of them have sucked and I haven't liked, okay? And half of that is because it's like I have his Wikipedia, and not that I didn't like this guy. You know, that was a bad...
Mark Randolph was cool.
You know.
I liked Mark.
No, I have his Wikipedia page up, and I'm literally listening to him just read off of it. And I'm like, what are we doing?
You think he wrote his own Wikipedia page?
No, he has a publicist, and his publicist wrote it, and then he just sits there and reads it. So and that's why I just decided to like just blatantly ask him, because it's like our question to him was like, why do you do this? And then he goes into this big spiel about the love for entrepreneurship.
He should have told me it was all Wikipedia. I would have just been one step ahead of him the whole time. But anyways, for Putin, I think question number one is so you look great for your age. What do you do to like? I mean, and it's not just your shape. I mean, your face, and you look so young. We were talking about it the other day. I said you would not believe how young Vlad is. Can I call you Vlad? Okay.
Such a flirt.
And Hugh said 50 something, and I said, no, this man's 70. Been 70 in human years. This is American years. But. Yeah, no, I just want to know, like, what's your skincare regimen and what you do for, like, physical health. Aside from invading countries smaller than yours. I'm just playing. Okay, Hugh had a question.
Were you dropped as a child, or you just came out like this?
Handsome as shit, dude. I don't know. Maybe my mom should have dropped me more, you feel me? I love you, Putin.
That'd probably be my question. I'd be like, do you just enjoy this nonsense? And also, what is actually wrong with you? Like, is there
Hugh, you don't know what underlying issues he had. He may have been bullied in school. They may have said, what if Ukraine was like, haha, you do not have biggest missiles? And he was like, yes, I do. And I'm not good at accents at all. They always just go back. It's nice. Usually they always go back to Russian. And since Russia's like a big topic now, it kind of works. So
let me see. What else would I ask you? I
think after your second question, I may have to take the third one.
Like, what's the end goal here?
That's a good one. What if he said complete domination? First Europe, second world.
Then I'd ask him the first one again.
That's fair. The one about his physical health and everything?
No, my first one.
Oh, okay. So he does have 2 daughters.
Hey.
I wonder if they're hot. Yeah, maybe he has grandkids. Let's see. Maria Putin. Damn! Holy shit! Okay, that is like the one. And how old is she? Eldest child. 37. Bad as fuck.
Ew.
The blonde.
Maria, this one?
No, okay. There are tons more pictures. I think you just picked the worst one, dude. No, look. No, okay, that's both of them. The one on the left is the ugly one. The one. No offense, Katerina. But no, Maria definitely got the looks.
Bro, I'm on Maria.
Yeah, dude. One sec. I'm sending a picture to the Discord just so you can see this. Okay, you see that?
It looks like Putin.
Look at the picture in the Discord. You're telling me one drunken night at a Russian pub?
Oh, get the hell out of here.
You see
get
that?
Get the hell out of here.
You don't think? I mean, dude,
her receding hairline is worse than LeBron.
So, dude, she's Putin's daughter. You gotta hit that for America. You gotta do it while singing the Ukrainian Pledge of Allegiance. That's right. Anyways, Vlad, I'm just messing with you, dude. You know you're my boy. So I wouldn't do anything to any of your daughters without your permission, sir. All right, guys. Well, really appreciate you guys tuning in, listen to us talk about weird shit. We love you, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.